Chaga.
When my chaga mug starts getting low, I start freaking out. I make chaga all the time. I always have a pot going. I have to. I find that it is very helpful for inflammation. I have a bad hip. And also, I can't say this for sure. All I can say is my A1C level has gone down. I'm pre-diabetic, and I checked my blood the other day. I've been drinking this for about 3 months. Of course, I changed my diet, but one of the dietary changes that I made was I started drinking chaga. My blood sugar was at 87 yesterday morning, lower than it's ever been. I always have this around. What I do is I brew it, and then I put it in this container. I bought this at Walmart. So this is about 2.5, 3 gallons or something. I'm not sure. I never even checked. I just bought it. But today, I'm going to do my usual thing. I use this stock pot. By the way, this was extremely cheap. I was worried about it leaking here. It doesn't. It was a good deal. I can't remember what I paid for it, but it works great. The one thing I'll say is, like, if you have this in your refrigerator and it's pulled up towards the front, one time the door, hit this and a lot of chaga spilled out and made a mess. So I turn it sideways and then, do that. But this thing works great. You can drink chaga hot or cold, and I do both. And I'll probably be drinking hot chaga later because my mug, it's really out. But this is a very mild tasting tea, and everybody calls it a tea, but it's a mushroom, it's a fungus. So is it really a tea, or is it a mushroom broth? I don't know, but I need some, excuse me. Oh my God. It's like a ray of sunshine. It's freaking delicious. God damn, that's good. This is chaga here. It looks like this. It's real black, and if you go looking for it, which I do, I look for it. It's easier to look for it when there's no leaves on the trees. It's the blackest thing in the forest. This right here, this is chaga. It's a fungus. It grows on birch trees. I know it looks real strange. It's a real strange fungus too. That right there, that is a reishi mushroom. And I put a little reishi mushroom in there just to give it a bitter flavor, a little bitterness. Chaga is very mild. It's a very mild tea. Now the real white birch trees, they have like black on them too, but not anything as black as this. So you might see a piece of chaga that's 400 feet away. In this area, I have to walk a while to find chaga, but I'm doing it for exercise, so it's no big deal. To find some chaga, I might have to walk 5 hours, 4 hours. It depends. But that's because most of the tree, there are birch trees here, but there's more birch trees in certain areas of the world, and some of the birch trees in some areas, they're really infected with chaga. Now I'm going to talk about a company that if I run out of chaga, I needed a place that I could get it. This is a fact, so I did a lot of research. I don't recommend anybody's buying anything from Russia. Russia has a lot of chaga, but I don't recommend buying anything from Russia. I like it in a chunk, and the reason why I like it in a chunk, but I would buy it ground too, and I would buy it ground from this company that I have acquired chaga from in the past, because I don't think that they're mixing anything in. I think what they're doing is grinding up chaga. And it's a company in Maine. It's called Chaga Mountain. I'll leave a link below. This is not a paid endorsement. They have given me nothing. I'm just telling you that I've used this company because it seems trustworthy, and it was a decent price. It's a family-owned company. They have all kinds of products on there. They have chunk chaga, they have ground chaga, they have chaga for pets. I've thought about giving it to Ike. It's a mushroom. It's a tea. It's a broth. When I started drinking this, I knew that it had anti-inflammatory properties, or that's what I had heard. And I was disbelieving, but I've had real good luck with this, and my blood sugar is way down. So of course I'm going to keep drinking it. This is reishi mushroom. This is a piece of reishi mushroom. I just put this in the chaga just to give it a little bitterness. Chaga is a very delicate tasting drink. It's the color of black tea. See, I'm holding it up to the sun right now. You see how it's sort of reddish, but there's like some golden brown color in there, and it's real dark. That's how you want it. It's delicious. Or like a dark coffee, a real dark coffee. That's how you want it. It's very mild tasting. If you flavor it with anything, it will mask the taste of the chaga. That's a fact. And I like the taste of the chaga. I've tried flavoring it with stuff. One of the flavors that I used that, didn't totally mask it was vanilla bean. I put a vanilla bean in about 2.5 gallons of chaga that I was making. It didn't totally mask it. Also the reishi mushroom, it just gives it a little bit of bitterness. And as far as the reishi mushroom goes, the first time that I made this stuff, I put a whole reishi mushroom in an Instapot and I cooked it for about an hour and a half. This is honest God truth. It swelled up, I had trouble getting it out of, it fit in there like, got a real tight seal, and it was in there so tight, it fit in there so tight I had trouble getting it out. But the reishi mushroom has a bitter taste to it. You don't need to make it that strong. And when I made it that strong using the Instapot, I swear to God, it was bitter, and I was drinking it. I'm like, I'm gonna drink it. I felt like I was drinking mushroom tea for just a little split second, like the mushroom tea that I had back in the 80s in Columbia, Missouri. I kid you not. I'm like, am I feeling that here? I'm still not sure, but this isn't like a mushroom that you get stoned on. It's something that the reishi mushroom, a lot of people that are going through chemo use this. It seems to be helpful. This has a lot of polysaccharides in it too, and this one, I don't think that this is really known for bringing down your inflammation level, but I put it in there just for a bitterness. And I do believe that some of the companies that are making mushroom coffee, what they're doing is they're using chaga because it gives it a nice darkness to it. Okay, so this is in light. See how dark it is? There's really like no light going through it. And then one of the mushrooms that they're using besides lion's mane is the Ganoderma, and that gives it a bitterness like coffee. But if I want something closer to coffee, then I would drink barley coffee. And I know everybody's probably saying, what the fuck is barley coffee? Barley coffee is exactly what it sounds. It's like dandelion coffee. It's a non-caffeinated sort of bitter beverage. You could make, put milk in. But the thing of it is see, I don't drink caffeine anymore. I dropped caffeine. Caffeine's just a waste. So I drink chaga all the time. I do. I drink about 1 gallon a day, and it does seem to help with the inflammation for sure. Now to make it, I use a stock pot. I use a stock pot, and the first thing that I do is I put 1 gallon of water in the stock pot, and I'm gonna cook it. This amount of chaga right here, I'm gonna cook this amount of chaga in this stock pot, and we're gonna add more water later. So I put the chaga in there with the reishi mushroom. Now you'll see some stuff floating around in there. That sediment, that is really no big deal. Everything ends up floating to the bottom. And that sediment is the mushroom too. So I have no problem drinking it. It doesn't make it, I don't even notice it. I don't even notice it. It's barely noticeable. It ends up being a very clear tea. It's extremely clear. It's a very beautiful. like dark brown, black, reddish color. It's really pretty. If you just are making the reishi, that ends up being a very light, well, I would compare it to like a lemon tea or something, or like a chamomile. It ends up looking like a chamomile tea. And by the way, I will make just reishi mushroom tea, and I'll add lemon to it, and it's pretty good. Now, when it's cooked, I just let it cool down, and I pour it into here. And some sediment falls to the bottom. A lot of the sediment is just, after cooking it, it just sort of degrades it, and you really can't notice it. Some people strain it. If you want to strain it, go ahead, but you're straining something that is edible, and it's just chunks of what you want. I swear to God, it's not noticeable. You won't notice it. Most of the sediment ends up in the bottom of this, and when I make a fresh batch, you know, I dump it out. It's really no problem. The taste of this, I like it. I did not know what to expect, but I do. I like chaga a lot. Now we're gonna put it on high first. Get this thing boiling. And I'll cook it on high until it starts boiling, and then I'm going to turn it down. Now this is the stove that I use, and it's not real accurate, but if you're cooking it at home, you might be able to have it real low and have it on simmer. That's generally how everybody makes it. You just simmer it for a long time. I've simmered it for 2 hours before and started filling up my mug. This is true, and I will be filling up my mug at some point during the day. If I drink a lot of it, and at a point we're going to add more water to it. In about 4 hours, I'll add another gallon. But if it starts looking like I've drank a lot, I might even put more chaga in there because I don't want it weak. I have found that it has to be a certain strength to get the anti-inflammatory properties, and you're looking at something that should be like a dark coffee. It doesn't look exactly like dark coffee. It's interesting because it has like almost like, you can see a golden color in it. You can see a really reddish brown and a blackish color in it. It's a very beautiful tea. It's nice to look at. It's not heavy. If I would cook this with just this amount of water and that amount of chaga for, say, 8 hours, it'll be way too strong, meaning it's good for anti-inflammatory and stuff, but it just sort of has like this thickness to it. I can't explain it. It's not thick. It's very liquidy, but it has this thickness to it. So I always have a tendency to dilute it, cook it longer, and get it right to where I want it. You want to get it to a point where you can just barely see through it. You can see through it. If it's so dark you can't see through it, that's the point where I find it's just a little bit too thick, a little bit too thick for me. The taste, I don't know of anything it tastes like. I can't really think of anything that this tea tastes like. It definitely doesn't taste like the mushroom tea I had in Columbia, Missouri in the 80s. It's nothing like that. It's very delicate and mild. It's very nice. I don't have to sweeten it with anything. I like that. I dropped sugar, you know, about the same time I started drinking chaga, and I don't sweeten anything. So this works out real good. So we'll cook it for about 4 hours, something like that. I'm gonna add more water into it and then probably cook it for another 4 hours, and then it might be ready. Sometimes I'll cook it for 8 hours, and then because there's so much volume of water in it, it stays hot for so long. By the time that it's cooling down, I've already been pouring some out, So I put more water and chaga in there and then keep it going. That's one thing that's real important that you should know about chaga and the reishi mushroom, is that you can reuse it up to 3 times. Now, if you cook it like I'm cooking it, real long, it sort of, gets it to the point where it's spent. See, this is totally spent, but it looks like, except for the bug crawling on it, it looks like you could boil it down and, you'd have chaga, but it's pretty spent. There's not much in here. If I boiled this down, it'd be extremely weak. But you could still, if you start boiling it up and simmering it, you'll start getting color, you'll start getting stuff out of the mushroom. You just add more chaga and do it again. Here, it's starting to change color. We'll check back in about an hour and then 2 hours, and you'll see how the color really changes. It really gets dark. It's a very bold, I sound like Trump. It's very bold, it's beautiful. It really is. It's a nice looking drink. It's refreshing in the summertime. It's refreshing in the winter. I honestly do think that it's helping with my arthritis, and I don't know what to think. Like, my blood sugar was down to 87. 87. Now I've dropped my carbs are really limited. That's true, but I had limited my carbs and was checking it like last month. I don't know. I never had it that low. I had it like a little bit under 100. It was 87. That's awesome. Do I contribute it to the chaga? Maybe. It helps with my inflammation. Why wouldn't it? And my other thought about chaga is that I know that this sounds crazy. Well, no, it doesn't. But some mushrooms are poisonous. So there's stuff in mushrooms that'll kill you. Some mushrooms will get you stoned. That's a fact. So why wouldn't there could be something in a mushroom that takes down inflammation? See what I'm saying? I'm this guy that's like totally Western medicine. The hippie tea, you asked me 5 years ago, are you going to be drinking hippie tea? I'd be like, no, why would I? Here's some reishi mushroom that I actually have made tea with, and it's dried out again, and it looks exactly the same, okay? Looks exactly the same. Here's chaga, and this is chaga that I boiled down probably 3 times, and it looks pretty much the same. Not exactly, but it looks very close. You can take the chaga after you use it, and you can dry it back out and use it again later. I'm a heavy chaga drinker, so my chaga just stays in the pot, and I add water and more chaga. Now, this would be another reason why you'd probably want a reputable source, and I get that from this family-run company, is because if they're making like tinctures and stuff like that, or they're boiling it down and making some kind of thick extraction, like do you understand what I'm saying? This would still be the same, and they could probably throw this in and sell it to you, or grind it up and sell it to you, but it's spent. It's spent. You can't get much out of this now. I'm not saying that if I put it in water and I boiled this up, I'll get some color out of it, but it's been boiled down 3 times. It might look the same, but it's not. So you do want to look for a reputable source, and I don't think that like buying chaga from like a big company like nuts.com or Mountain Rose or whatever it's called, that just seems like a recipe for getting shit. It does. It seems like a recipe for getting just junk. They might not kill you, but it's also not going to be good. That's why I'm saying Chaga Mountain. Chaga Mountain is just a supplier that I feel comfortable with, and the price was good. It's not a paid endorsement, but you can find them on the internet, and I believe that they live in an area where all the trees are infected. That's the deal. It's like, seriously, if I start walking out here and start looking for birch trees, if I just walked in one direction, maybe in 5 hours I could find some chaga. but there's areas where all the trees are infected, and I assume that that's what we're talking about when we're talking about Chaga Mountain. It's an area, all the birch trees are infected. They take it off, you know, they harvest it in such a way that it can grow back. It's their business. They don't want to deplete their source of chaga. See what I'm saying? So it really is. This is not a paid endorsement. I just, you know, it's a small business owner. Chaga that I just had that's all spent, I just put it in the pot. You know, the chaga with the bug on it, I just threw it in the pot. Come on, a little bug, a bug's not gonna hurt, right? It's no big deal, but you can't do that. You can take the chaga, if you don't wanna leave it in the pot like me, and you can dry it out and then you can put it in again. I'm definitely not a germ fanatic. My friend Jinian, she says she's not, but I know you are, Jinian. She's clean, man. Most women are sort of clean, you know? I'm not, I don't really care. I'm making my tea with dirty fingernails. I don't care. I might barbecue. I'm gonna go dig around the yard. I'm gonna get my hands all filthy. I might throw some ribs on the grill. That's about 20 minutes. See the color difference? It's starting to get all, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful tea. By the time that we're done, all the chaga will float to the bottom. See the chaga that I just threw in there? See the chaga at the bottom? That's the spent chaga. It no longer will float. It just starts sinking. So once it's down there, it's not floating anymore. You know, you could use it a couple more times, but you use it a fourth time, I'm not gonna really get anything out of that stuff. It's not gonna hurt it. You know, the bug might give it a nice flavor, but if I put the spent stuff in the water at this point, and there was no new chaga in there, the color wouldn't even be close to this. It'd be very light. It just came up to a boil. So, see the color? Now I'm gonna turn it down and simmer it for about 4 hours. Turn it down. Most of the time when I'm doing this, because of the stove that I use, I'll turn it completely off. And just let it sit there. Let the chaga sit in there, and I might turn it off for an hour and a half, and then turn it back on. Sort of like, you know, a crock pot, real slow, like a real slow cook. I find that the longer the better. So if I let this cool down to the point where I can deal with the pan, the pot, and pour some hot chaga into a mug, I might add a little bit more water. We're gonna add water for sure. We're gonna add water. I'm just telling you how I do it. I have a constant thing of chaga going. I'm constantly reusing the chaga and the reishi mushroom. I just leave it in the pot. I don't have to dry it out. I might empty this out into my Walmart glass container. The chaga's in there for, I don't know, 4 hours or something, and then I'll pour water in because I don't want it to mold or anything, and start it up again. If it was winter time, I probably wouldn't be as concerned about mold. I think I've left chaga in the pot for up to, I don't know, 8-10 hours, poured water in it and started cooking it again, maybe 12. But I'm somebody that will eat food that was cooked, I don't know, just warm it up. You know, come on. A little bit of bacteria is good for you. Don't freak out. No, actually, don't listen to me on that. You don't want botulism, you don't want food poisoning. Don't do it my way. I'm just telling you what I do. You know, if I was hungry and it was rotten, I'd probably eat it. It's too hot in the sun, even at a low temperature. It's still boiling, so I'm just turning it off. I'll let it sit for 45 minutes or an hour. I'll turn it back on, bring it up to a boil, turn it off again, and I'll keep doing this periodically throughout the day. It's been about 4 hours. I turned it off. I went to Walmart. It's cooled down, so now I'm going to take some chaga out, put it in my chaga mug, which, you know, you could drink it however you want. I drink it in a mug. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have it in a mug, not a teacup, a coffee cup. Are you kidding me? No mug. I'll fill this thing up. I'd fill it up if I had enough. I'd drink this down in 5 or 10 minutes. Just tipping it back. Did I clean the mug? No, I'm drinking it out of a dirty mug. Okay? We're gonna put another gallon of water in here. We're gonna cook it another 4 hours. Probably another 3 hours, then I'll probably add like a little bit more water. So I'm gonna add probably about another gallon and a half. First, I'm gonna take this chaga out and enjoy it because my leg is killing me. If you're trying to use this to keep inflammation down, you have to kind of keep drinking it. Yeah, we got a nice color. See the color? See that? Now I'll be able to taste it if this is too strong, you know, or it's too weak. Oh, that's good. That's good. Needs to cook some more, but that is really good. Mmm. Yeah, that's pretty good. Like this color. You see that? It's like coffee. Delicious. I can taste the reishi mushroom in it. That Ganoderma just gives it a little bitterness. I like it like that. You don't have to put the reishi mushroom in there. This is just how I drink it. You don't have to do what I do. I'm just showing you what I do. You can prepare it any way that you want. You could wash your hands. You could drink it out of a clean mug. I don't give a shit. I'm just showing you what I do with chaga. Mmm. Oh my God. That is good. I feel brand new. I feel like I could go run a marathon now. Is it an aphrodisiac? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. The jury's still out, but I do like it. We'll add this whole gallon here. Yum, yum, yummy. So it's a very clean tea. It's very clear. It might be dark, but it's very clear, so you can see it on the edges. It's delicious. Now that is looking sweet. You see that? See the rain's dropping in there? That is really beautiful. See how black it looks, but it's not really that black. You put it in a cup, not a cup, you put it in a glass or a mug, and you can see that it's really like this beautiful kind of yellow, brown, red, black combination. It's not like one color. It's like light hits it. It's a really beautiful tea. Okay, so it's been at least 8 hours. I'm turning it off. I'm gonna check the color of it. Just gonna dip this mug in there. Pull some out. Make sure it's the right color. Yeah, that looks about right. That does. That looks about right. So I'll let this cool. Let me make sure. No, it's weak. It's too weak. I got to add a little bit of chaga, and it's got to go a little bit longer. This is how I make it. You know, don't make it like me. But I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my chaga. It's a little weak. Gonna have to add another chunk of chaga. 2 more hours. So it's gonna be nice. It'll be dark. It'll definitely be dark when I'm taking this off. Yeah, you can see it. It's just way too light. Here, maybe you can tell. If there was light going, if there was enough light out, you could tell. It's what color? Well, when you hold it up here to the light, it looks like black tea. It should be darker than black tea. It should be more like black coffee. It's good. It's chaga. Oh my God. It's delicious. Chaga Mountain, seriously, contact Chaga Mountain. Let me go get another piece of chaga. We'll brew this, and I'll get it off the burner sometime tonight. But it really doesn't matter. The thing of it is, see, I knew that I was going to do this video, so I wanted the glass container empty, so I drank it all. Usually I have a constant flow of it, so it's no big deal. One more chunk of chaga. Maybe a little bit more reishi mushroom, to tell you the truth. Oh, that's good though. But I have this piece of chaga and I have this piece of reishi mushroom. I'm gonna pop it in there and I'll cook it for some more hours. Now, flat out, I might let it cook until 10 o'clock. And then it's so much volume of water, it'll take hours for it to cool down. You know, it might just extract more of the whatever's in the chaga and the reishi mushroom while it's cooling down. I've left it out for like 8 hours, like cooling down, and then it's ready in the morning too. And it's also leached whatever the stuff is, the polysaccharides and shit, out of the mushroom more. It's darker, so you can't do that. But cold water extraction for chaga, somebody was saying that they do that. That doesn't really work too well. It doesn't, and I've never heard of anybody recommending doing that. Everybody that does it talks about hot water extraction. I can't imagine cold water extraction. Seems to be going pretty good. A little rainwater went in there. That's all right. I'm in the country. It's not like I'm in the city. There, so that's some delicious chaga. I think I'm gonna continue cooking it for a while. I'll do a real long one. Sometimes I do it longer, sometimes I do it shorter. You're gonna wanna do it for 3 or 4 hours. Definitely. I'm gonna put the lid back on it. Smelling good. That extra reishi mushroom and the extra chaga. It's looking good. It's raining, but my stove is still lit. This isn't a problem, this Coleman stove. It's fucking sweet. So it's raining. It's past midnight, and I think the chaga's done. Oh, it's too hot. I can't put it in the thing. Well, I'll put it in later. Just yum, yum, yummy. Can you see the color in there? See how it's like around the edges? It's sort of like, it's like a golden brownish look. See if I put it in the light. If this is how it should be. This is how I believe it should be. I took the chaga off the stove last night about midnight. The color's correct. Smells like chaga, which doesn't have much of a smell. Yum! Yum, yum, yummy. I left it in the stock pot until the morning, and then I put it in this, and then I put it into the refrigerator. Now I have the pan, or the stock pot, back on the stove with water, and I'm boiling up the water, and then I'm gonna simmer that. I'm gonna put some fresh chaga in there. The old chaga is in there. I'm gonna cook it up, make sure I get everything out of it. You keep reusing the chaga 2 or 3 times. Make sure you get everything out of it, and you'll be good to go. Do I know for sure 100% that it's affecting my inflammation? I'm pretty sure. I have real bad arthritis. I think it's affecting my inflammation in my hip. And what am I gonna say, man? My blood sugar is so much lower than it was. Those are the 2 things that people talk about, and it seems to be true. Like I said, if there's a mushroom that's poisonous, there's stuff in mushrooms that's poisonous, and there's stuff in mushrooms that can get you, make you hallucinate. Why wouldn't there be stuff in mushrooms that could take down inflammation or help with your glucose level? I'm not a scientist. I have not done any studies on this. I'm just reporting what I heard and what my experience is. And my experience is that my hip feels better. But with that said, if you're gonna use it for inflammation, you can't just like drink it every now and then. You have to like, I think after about 4 days I'd built it up in my system where I started noticing a difference, but you wanna keep drinking it, and that's what I do. That's why it's on the stove. One more time, if you're looking for chaga, try Chaga Mountain in Maine. It's not, like I said, this is not a paid endorsement. They've given me nothing. I just find that it seems like a reputable place, and their price seemed okay, and so that's who I'm getting it from if I can't find it myself. But if you're gonna go look for it, it's easier to find in the wintertime. Just look for birch trees. It's on birch trees. It's not gonna be on all birch trees, but birch trees that are infected, you might be in an area where all the birch trees are infected. If they're white birch, you know, there's sort of like, it's sort of like white and black, but like the chaga is blacker than the black part of the white birch. So you could see that from 100 miles away. It's a good way to get exercise. You're out in the woods. Try looking for it in the winter when the leaves are off the trees. It's one more thing that you can, like, if you want to go mushroom hunting, you can go mushroom hunting in the winter. There are mushrooms that you can look for in the winter. Chaga is a blast to look for, and it's delicious to drink. Chaga.